welcome to another installment of Kaiju Curry House. Tonight, Paul and I, your host Joe, are going to be talking about Godzilla Singular Point, which is the new anime which Netflix is premiering. And we're going to be going over the first episode tonight and then speculation about the plot and the players involved in the series. Paul, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks, Joe. Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Well, yeah, it is a pleasure to see you. We're releasing these on YouTube now, folks, and that's to help anybody who may want to view it with subtitles. So expanding our audience. Anyways, Paul, what have Kaiju been up to?
Well, to tell you what, Joe, I have spent a little bit of money on Everything Dinosaur. And got this luscious Shin Godzilla embryo, which is very cool.
That is very cool.
Yeah, there's 3 variants. I just went for clear because you can see him better, I think, than the other 2. But yeah, it's kind of so it's Shin Godzilla all curled up in a little ball. It's kind of cute, kind of creepy.
You and I have a different definition of cute, Paul.
I think it's the big eye that makes him look. It's the puppy dog eye.
I think that's cute, like a goldfish is cute, Paul.
Yeah,
I'm not.
No,
I'm not getting fluffy bunny vibes. I'm not getting fluffy bunny vibes.
Okay. Well, yeah, I got that from everythingdinosaur.com. That's £45. So that wasn't too bad. Other than that, I've been mainly doing gaming. Kaiju gaming wise, City Shrouded in Shadow, that PlayStation 4 Kaiju exclusive, I've been playing, I've completed, and the episodes are up on our YouTube channel. So you can see me play through the whole game. It's amazing that a single game has creatures from Godzilla, Gamera, Neon Genesis, all the different franchises all in a single game. I don't know how they managed to sign off on that deal, but well done to them. The only problem is it's a story-based game and it's in Japanese, so I have no idea what the plot is. But hey, never mind. And other than that, there's a new game called Outriders out. Me and my mate Tom have been playing it online, and it's a very generic sci-fi story, but basically we've used up all the resources and we're looking for a new home. We come across this planet and there's a strange anomaly there which changes things, but all it basically means is you get to run around with lots of different guns and shoot some very cool creatures. So I mean, even if you don't like games, I will try and upload some footage so you can see all the creature designs in it, because there's I came across one that's literally as tall as a mountain breathing fire at me. There's this spider that we fought in a volcano, which then somehow mutates to look like a giant face hugger. It's like a snake/spider lava thing, which is pretty cool. But yeah, very cool designs. I'll leave it there.
You love your creepy stuff, don't you?
I do love my creepy stuff, yeah. I mean, spiders especially are creepy. And when they're ginormous and spitting lava and the little babies are summoned to attack you. Yeah, it's great fun. Great fun. But enough about me. Joe, what have Kaiju been up to?
I have been watching Godzilla Singular Point, and I recently watched, again, Love and Monsters.
As in you've seen that twice?
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic movie. I couldn't get enough of it the first time around, so watched it again. First time I watched it with my partner. Second time we figured, this is okay. We can show the kids this. So the kids watched it, and it was really funny. We have a 13-year-old daughter, and she was just kind of in the corner pretending not to take interest. And then, the longer the movie came on, the less she started looking at her iPad, and it was just kind of funny to watch her take interest. But the kids thought it was really fun. I think that's a really fun movie. And in terms of merch, I spent a little bit of money too. I bought a Bandai Godzilla Singular Point figure. It is the Titanosaurus figure. I know it is Godzilla Aquatus or whatever you want to call it, Toho, but it's Titanosaurus. You can't, pull the wool over my eyes. I know exactly what you're doing there. Got him, and then I pre-ordered the Fire Rodan, or not. I guess you can't call it the Fire Rodan, but it is the Molten Rodan, Rick exclusive from X Plus.
The Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Yeah. I thought that was worth diving in on because I really like Rodan. I'm a big fan of the original film, and I liked him in Godzilla King of the Monsters. But to my knowledge, other than the Defo Reel, it's the only flying sculpt of a Rodan that's really doing the creature justice. And with the base, the pose, the way it was painted, I thought it was definitely worth the investment. So I went ahead and bit the bullet and pre-ordered him through Awesome Collector. And yeah, so, been doing my bit of purchasing, staying in with the fandom. It's been a busy few weeks.
Okay.
I think you and I also talked a few episodes back that Pacific Rim, The Black came out. So, I finished that up. I thought it was pretty good. And we'll have to do an episode on that.
Yeah, we will definitely. Once we've all watched it, we'll do an episode getting into that one.
Yeah, we need to get Alex to watch more cartoons. This has been the trend. If you don't notice, folks, Alex, who is normally one of the co-hosts on the podcast, is missing tonight, and he won't watch cartoons with us, will he, Paul? He just won't do it.
He loves cartoons.
Does he though? Does he?
He's more of he loves Evangelion, so I just assumed he loves all anime. Maybe that's a bit of a generalization there.
I don't think Evangelion's like a lot of anime.
No? Okay.
But yeah. So Alex isn't joining us tonight, but he is here in spirit. And we will mock his lack of cartoon watchiness. So, Paul, as I understand it, you have only gotten through the first episode of Singular Point.
I have, yes. And obviously, because it's only out in Japan at the moment, I had to watch it subbed, where I would prefer to watch a dubbed version.
Oh, no. Subbed is the way to go.
No.
This is the great debate, isn't it?
The great debate, yeah. I especially the intro to Singular Point, where it was just constant talking, and I was just trying to read frantically at the bottom.
There is a lot of quick dialogue and a lot of quick subtitles if you're not watching it dubbed. So Paul and I are watching it. You should know, folks, that we are not watching it on Netflix. We are watching it because anime fans will find a way to watch anime on the internet. And whilst we have not illegally downloaded anything, we have just flat out watched it, haven't we? We just went to a site and watched it. So it is out there if you look. But yeah, I've gotten up to episode 5 now. At the time of this recording, it is April 28th. And we're just going to go over the first episode here in this first segment. So, Paul, do you want to explain how the episode goes, or would you want to leave it up to me and then we can tear it apart?
I'm about to say I can try and go through it. Mm-hmm. I'll probably forget some stuff actually. It might be best if you go through it. Before you do though, I would just say at the moment it is being released weekly in Japan on Netflix, and there's 13 episodes in total. It's coming to the UK Netflix on 24th of June, but I don't know if that will then be in one lump or if it will be weekly. But it might be a case of literally it finishes in Japan and then boom, worldwide release all in one go.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Western audiences like a good binge, don't they?
That's it. I'd rather binge it and be able to watch it dubbed if I can. I don't want to do this waiting every week and having to read it and possibly miss something cool on screen.
Yeah. So Godzilla Singular Point starts out. It's got a very flashy opening, doesn't it, Paul? Like the intro, like most cartoons, what they'll have is I guess any show, they'll have like a title credit scene or a section of the episode. And with Singular Point, it is all over the place, and it's really interesting artistically. And then it just goes into the animation, which the episodic animation, which is gorgeous, I will say. How do you feel about the animation in Singular Point?
Oh, the animation's spot on. I'm completely happy with it. Back on the intro, I was expecting it to be some like really poppy, cheesy intro with just lots of scenes of creatures, but it's nothing like that at all, is it? It was just no. It's not what I was expecting.
So we go into the animation, which for all the world looks like gorgeous, traditional, like Studio Ghibli-esque hand-drawn animation. And we have Yun, which is one of our main protagonists, and he's talking with a colleague, about what's for dinner and stuff like that. And then they go to investigate a haunted house, as it were. Now, Yun and his colleagues, they're what you would call like engineers or handy folks for hire. It's kind of like they do like odd technical jobs. So they go off to this haunted house and they kind of find like a radio wave recording, but it kind of comes and goes. So they're wondering what the cause of that is. And then they kind of look over and they say, oh, hey, look, there's like a radio station over there. Meanwhile, at said radio station, they're having technical difficulties with something that, with a piece of hardware that it was installed ages ago. So they invite someone over to look at it. Basically, it's the understudy of a professor. And she comes and looks at it and she's just like, well, this, that, and everything. We should call the folks that installed that, which happens to be Yun and his colleagues. Now, Yun gets the call out of hours, and it's kind of funny because he's in the process of scaling the fence at this point into the radio station because he wants to know about the signal. So he's like, oh, crap, we've got caught. And it turns out like, oh, hello. Oh, you're having issues. Oh, you don't say. So that was kind of like a bit of humor in the episode.
I really like that. That was good.
Yeah, that was good.
I like the two characters. It's off to a good start character-wise.
The two characters, like Yun and his colleague, who I've totally spaced on his name, but they're arguing over what they're going to have for dinner or lunch in like 2 weeks' time. And Yun's just like telling his colleague, like, you're so predictable. He's like, no, I'm not. It's like, well, you're going to have this. It's like, oh, well, we'll see. Now, spoilers, folk. A few episodes later, like he does end up eating the thing that he called him out on. Yeah, it was pretty good, but like it feels very in world. It feels very rich. Like you can tell, like these characters have histories, the way they talk to one another, and a lot of it's quite plausible, wouldn't you say? Like there's no like ridiculous anime tropes, with the exception perhaps of how Mei is drawn. Now, Mei is our female protagonist. So everybody else looks reasonably normal. And then you have Mei, who has purple hair and gigantic eyes. And it's one of those things, like if you've ever seen the anime or like, go ahead and do yourself a favor, look up Yu-Gi-Oh! And the main character of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sticks out like a sore thumb because he has giant, spiky purple hair. And there's just no one else in that show that looks anything close to that. So Mei, again, has like these really large eyes, like inhumanly large eyes, and purple hair. And everybody else is just drawn relatively normal. So it was a case of, in anime, like it's the classic case of spot the protagonist. So, but that was fun. But anyways, she's a really cool character. She's a very intelligent character, which was refreshing to see. We have a smart female character, and she's driving the story along, which is really cool. Anyways, get back to the plot. It kind of jumps ahead to sort of the next day. There are a few things that happen in between, but they aren't necessarily consequential. Yun developed like a software AI, and Mei downloads it, and it takes the form of like it takes the form of like a little dog on her laptop, and it kind of becomes its own character. It was fun. It was cool. My daughter Charlotte was kind of like watching over my shoulder, and she really liked the dog. So that was great. But what happens like the next day or the next few ensuing days is there is a tech show, and they are showing off Jet Jaguar, which is what Yun and his father and their company has been putting together, which was really cool. And Jet Jaguar looks like an actual robotics mech prototype that you would see in our real world, which I thought was a really nice touch. And they're kind of putting it together. They're doing like a festival and stuff. And then out of nowhere, there is a pterodactyloid. And, it just generally runs amok and attacks. And there's a fight between Jet Jaguar and the Rodan.
There isn't an episode 1.
Huh?
There isn't an episode 1.
Well, You can tell that it's going to happen because it's in all the previews and they've already shown the footage. But okay. So,
yeah, it's
but
in the
the end of
trailer.
the end of episode 1, it shows Yun like holding a kid and the Radon's like staring them down. Radon is the name that they come up with it in episode 2. But all in all, I think it's a very well paced first episode, and it ends on a cliffhanger. All the episodes tend to end on a cliffhanger. It really draws you in that sense. It's just your typical anime like hook and line. Like they just catch you and they draw you in. So I think that was really good. The monsters, for the most part, seem to be like some kind of computer animation. So they aren't like the 2D, like hand-drawn sort of animation that the rest of the cartoon has. Whether or not it is actually hand-drawn, I can't say, but it looks that way. But the Rodan in the episode, it is done with CGI up until the point that it dies, in which case it does become 2D hand-drawn animation. The computer generation of the monsters, by the way, it is like a 2D effect. Don't think that it's like Dinosaur King, where you have 2D characters and then you have dinosaurs that look like 3D-ish, and like it's a bit jarring. It really isn't jarring when you're watching Godzilla Singular Point. So I was really happy with that. All of the monsters have lovely color palettes, and they look like they've been animated and like their colors blended traditionally. So it's really nice in that sense. Episode 1 does have a bit of a cliffhanger ending, though, doesn't it, Paul? It kind of ends with a spoiler or like a hint or a nod or some foreshadowing. You want to take it away on that?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I didn't trust that guy who runs the wherever is that research place. At the beginning, he just looks so dodgy. And then when he's talking to that guy, how long have you been here? Okay, yeah, let me show you something. And then slowly down the elevator they go. Just massive open space down there. It's like saying, oh yeah, the people have kind of forgotten about this. It's been here since pre-war. And then you just see a mahoosive skeleton down there.
Mahusiv is right, yeah.
It's just like, oh, you're just storing that under this facility. So yeah, and you're like, oh, okay. I wasn't expecting a skeleton though. I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest, but not that.
So whose skeleton is it? Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to assume that's Godzilla or a relative of.
It is totally a Godzilla skeleton.
Yeah, so there's going to be, yeah, which is now.
So that was a nice curveball, just episode 1.
Well, yeah, episode 1 starts off with, ends with Godzilla's skeleton.
Yeah, so.
Or a Godzilla.
Yeah, so there's already been, or we presume there was a Godzilla before, it died, but we have a Godzilla skeleton there. And it's just like a whole bunch of questions that you suddenly start asking, like, ooh. So we were talking before we started recording, and the way I would describe the flavor of Godzilla Singular Point is a Godzilla themed version of Stranger Things drawn by Studio Ghibli. And I feel like that kind of nails it. Like that's what I've come up with. Paul, do you have any thoughts on how to like get the flavor for this?
I might have to see more before I can give any thought of comparison, but I don't think I've actually seen a Studio Ghibli film, so I might not be able to say it looks anything like that animation style.
What? You haven't seen a Studio Ghibli film?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, folks, if you haven't seen a Studio Ghibli film and you have Netflix, presumably you have Netflix because you know Godzilla Singular Point is going to be coming out to Western audiences. Go ahead and do yourself a favor. I will recommend 3. There is My Neighbor Totoro, which is quintessential Studio Ghibli. It's more of a family film, but it's just feel good. It's enjoyable, and it's just really easy watch. But My Neighbor Totoro. After that, there's Howl's Moving Castle, which is a really great film. It's a lot like, it's quite a bit like a lucid dream. Similar in a vein to Spirited Away, which a lot of folks will recognize. Disney did a wide release of Spirited Away, which is a Studio Ghibli film. That's also like a lucid dream. Either one of those would be interchangeable on my list. And then for older audiences, I would recommend Princess Mononoke. So this is a little bit more mature in its themes, and it's asking more philosophical questions, while at the same time it has absolutely gorgeous animation and a really wonderful plot. So if you want to check out those 3 or 4 on Netflix, they're all on right now. One of my personal favorites is also Porco Rosso. It's about a biplane pilot who gets turned into a pig, and it's awesome. I mean, you laugh, Paul, but they make it work.
I do, yeah.
But yeah, Studio Ghibli's amazing. They're just really well known for top-notch animation and storytelling. But yeah, that's what I would akin this to, like at least the flavor of it. But it's got that weird science fiction Stranger Things vibe to it, and it ends on cliffhangers, much like Stranger Things would. Like you leave wanting to see more. Like it really sucks you in. And we're going to take our first break, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about where potentially this series is going. Thanks, folks, and stay with us.
Hello, and welcome back to the second part of Kaiju Curry House. It's just me and Joe today talking about Godzilla Singular Point, which is coming soon to Netflix UK and is available on Netflix Japan if you have a VPN, or I'm sure you can Google it and find a way of watching it if you're desperate, like Joe is. So
I just Googled it and clicked the first thing, and there it was. Just watched it. I mean, whoever's policing it isn't really policing it.
No. Well, we'll be watching it on UK Netflix, I'm sure, so I don't think they're too concerned. Yeah. But yeah, so we've summarized the first episode, and as you said, Joe, it's got a good cliffhanger. It's well paced. It seems quite reasonably grounded. They've really built up the characters well. There's just very, very little kaiju in episode 1, as in literally it's the last maybe minute or two, which I'm assuming changes as you've said, and as we've seen in the trailer. There's about to be a battle between whatever that creature's called and the new Jet Jaguar, who, as you say, looks like a real life Rodan.
Rodan?
Is it just called Rodan? I thought it was called something else.
Well, they pronounce it Radon when you're watching it.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
Yeah. So they call it Radon. You find this out because of the gases that it exudes around it. So like if you've noticed any of the trailers, like there's this red dust. It seems ubiquitous with any of like with the majority of the kaiju in the series. The red dust, the red gas, the red water effect, it's around them. And the Radon are very much in tune with that. And it's, I mean, jumping ahead, they start to believe that, like they're dying off because they're from a different environment, so to speak.
Okay. Because yeah, so throughout that first episode, there's some ghost hunting going on at the beginning, but there's nothing that suggests in this world kaiju exist. There's no sort of like alarm systems or defenses. It's only right at the end we see there's a fair going on, and suddenly a kaiju appears. But we know there's a Godzilla skeleton.
Yeah, short of like a giant skeleton in a warehouse.
That's obviously been hidden. So are kaiju in this universe something that existed previously and are thought to be extinct, or are they living with them day to day and we just don't see it?
So, bit of a spoiler for episode 2 to answer your question.
Okay.
There's knockdown, drag out fight between the Jet Jaguar prototype and the first Radon that they encounter. It's great. And needless to say, good old JJ takes that beast down, albeit succumbing to heavy damage itself. So after this Radon dies, they do a little bit of research into it, and turns out Yun's dad is a bit of like a doomsday prepper, you might say.
Yeah.
And like all of his engineering efforts really kind of go into like his wacky doomsday ideas or his end times ideas. And there is a painting or a mural that depicts like a giant fish whale type creature, and it closely resembles Godzilla, albeit it basically is like a giant greenish gray koi with Godzilla's fins or his back plates on it. And then there's a bunch of radon flying around in kind of samurai-esque kimonos. And, it's artistic. Obviously there's been a bit of creative license taken here, but they say like, oh, well, it's the same red fog. It's the same general body plan as the radon. Maybe this has happened before. So it's kind of like leading into, like, what is it that we're seeing? And it's kind of neat in that sense.
Okay,
But
they are new to the environment as far as the
they're
population is
relatively
concerned.
new. Yeah, the modern population hasn't really seen these before, or at least it hasn't been widely publicized or made known. But ancient peoples, like, they had like a written or artistic record of these creatures beforehand. So that bit of the lore does exist. So
Okay, and you say the kooky dad who's a doomsday prepper. He's
he
building
is
Jet
kooky. He's
Jaguar.
got like two teeth. His eyes are looking in different directions. He's bald. He's shorter than everybody. I mean, he's outspoken. Oh, yes. Yes. I feel like we should say this for any parents who think their kids should watch this. They swear in Godzilla Singular Point a lot, and they use proper swear words. Like, F bombs get dropped.
Does it have an age rating? This?
I haven't
Not that we
looked
know
at
of.
it. I haven't looked at it, but yeah. So parents, I'm not sure how Netflix will necessarily deal with this for Western audiences. My guess is that they will not change the majority of the dialogue, but just so you know, they swear. They swear. But yeah, kooky old dad, he swears a lot.
I'm guessing he's going to be right. I mean, he's building Jet Jaguar to defend the Earth. I think he says,
Yeah.
or something like that. So he knows something's coming,
Or
or
he's a kook,
or
or
he's a
he's just a
kook
kook.
and just
Yeah.
happens. I'd actually
He is a
prefer that.
kook.
I think that'd be better.
Okay, so this is a great moment from episode one. So kooky old dad gets knocked out of piloting Jet Jaguar, so he's running away, and Yun, he couldn't think of anything better to do, so he remote pilots Jet Jaguar. He basically like gains control via like his like handheld device. But the only thing that he could download onto Jet Jaguar fast enough to make a difference was playing rock paper scissors. So Jet Jaguar is like sitting there like clunking around like an idiot, while Yun's just like shaking the screen around trying to play rock paper scissors with it so that he can save his dad. It was absolutely hilarious. But like the Radon's just sitting there like, huh? But no, it was really good. The Radon, incidentally, if so, there aren't necessarily different species of radon. If you look at the trailers, you'll be quick to notice that the first one, the one that fights the Jet Jaguar in episode 2 and is seen at the tail end of episode 1, it's bright red bordering on pink. It's got yellow and blue highlights and a long tail. Now, the radon that you see later on, like from the preview, are dark brown. They more closely resemble the Rodan that we are used to seeing, like 2019 and all the rest. Like, it is the quintessential like classic Rodan designer. It's getting there. So basically the Rodans start evolving for our environment. And if you are really quick to catch things, you'll notice that they start evolving Godzilla-like plates on their backs.
That's
So
cool.
that, yeah, so there's a lot of very interesting scientific engineering Easter eggy stuff that's going in Godzilla Singular Point. So one of the really cool things, perhaps one of my favorite things about the series, is the end credits. Paul, did you watch the end credits closely?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
What did I
so
miss?
the end credits are just basically one giant Easter egg that is just absolute fan service. So they have like shower designs from monsters getting thrown in. They have characters from all the original Showa and Heisei films that are like in the ending montages. Like all the news reporters are the news reporters from the Godzilla Showa era. They have people looking at dead monsters, and they are dressed like the cast of Ebra, Horror from the Deep. Like, you can see them all loitering around things. There's a Shakuras from The Return of Godzilla 1985. That's in one of the screen captures that May is looking at on her laptop. There's King Caesar fighting Manda. There's a Mothra cameo. There's just a whole bunch of really neat stuff. You could watch the end credits, and I kid you not, there has to be, if you include all the different characters, there's easily over 60 Easter eggs in the end credits. It's just so much fun. Like, whoever designed this, the people that were affiliated, like Studio Bones and Orange, they're responsible for this. It's written by Toe and Joe. Whoever was in charge of those end credits, they did a fantastic job with that sequence. And any Godzilla fan will find those end credits absolutely entertaining. They'll be like, oh my gosh, there it is, haha, and it's just all there. So it's really fun at the end of each episode to see those credits. Now, one thing I will tell you is, while the episodes do end on a cliffhanger, there's nothing at the end of the credits for you. And the end credit sequence is always the same. So once you've seen the end credit sequence, once you have picked that apart meticulously like I did, it's not going to change. So don't worry about it, and don't wait around until after the credits. Just enjoy your life afterwards. If you're going to be binging it, you can go ahead and press skip, because nothing new is going to be happening at the end of those credits. So yeah, it is fun in that sense, but you should take a look, Paul, next time you get a chance, and just look at the end credits, because it is absolutely fantastic. They threw everything in the kitchen sink at those end credits.
Okay. I mean, that's a good sign if they, they're fans of the franchise and they're throwing all that in there for fan service. That gives me a little bit of hope.
There's one point in it, you see Jet Jaguar and Kiru just like taking up arms together. They're fighting like side by side, and it's just kind of neat. It's like, oh, that's a cool nod. It is like the full-on Showa Jet Jaguar. It's not the Jet Jaguar from the series. So it's just fun stuff. It's just fun stuff. There's like a burning Godzilla in it. It's the 90s Mothra that they show. The Manda and the King Caesar are both Showa designs. They have a Hedorah in there. They have a Kamunga. It's really fun. It's really fun, but they've thrown all of that stuff in there in the end credits, which seems to have little to nothing to do with the actual show.
That's what I was going to ask.
Watch.
Do you think that's a tease for something that's going to come in later episodes?
I couldn't honestly tell you.
I'm trying to think on the trailer now. I'm trying to think what characters you see in the trailer, but I'm sure you see Kamunga and Hedorah, or at least versions of them.
You do. So later on, I'm up to episode 5. So at the time of recording, episode 5 has dropped in Japan. I have seen it, and we're starting to see they've put into the plans in this series. There's this material called archetype, and archetype doesn't behave like other materials. It's something of a, how would you describe it? It's unusual physically, and it doesn't behave in the way that you would expect it to. And there are certain properties within this archetype material that cause it to reflect different things, perhaps in time and space. So they're in the process of kind of beginning to understand and to look at how it is shaping stuff. And the red dust that the creatures produce or need is similar in many respects to one of the properties that make up archetype. So there's beginning to be a connection there, like where are these creatures from? And in my mind, what I'm equating it to is like, okay, so there's kind of like an upside down version of Earth where these creatures are coming from. And this red dusty stuff, is like a byproduct of like whatever breach or where they're coming from and mingling with our environment. And the Rodans, the Radons, are not surviving very long in our environment. because they are straying too far away too quickly. And in a sense, this makes a little bit of sense because they're quite quick and they're flying quite high and they're moving away quite quickly. So yeah, it's starting to develop interesting plot points, but they're managing to keep it pretty tight. They're managing to, like connect all the dots and not really leave a lot open to, like that it wouldn't make sense. Like there aren't gaping plot holes in this. They're really trying to keep it tight in the story. So I do appreciate that.
Okay. Yeah.
Mild
So
spoilerificness, yeah.
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more. I have to say because I think the first episode definitely laid the groundwork, and the thing is, the trailer had the original music and showed some amazing battles and the kaiju we know and love, but in a completely unique form. My fear was going to be it's going to be like the other Netflix anime trilogy, where they took it in a different direction and
Yeah,
it
they
didn't really
did.
work out. It seemed a bit too slow paced, and I just. But by the sounds of it, this isn't going to be the case with that. It's going to be something different.
Yeah, I guess Godzilla Earth, it poses a lot of philosophical questions and it is quite slow. But I don't necessarily think that they are bad movies. They're very inventive movies, and it shows you a lot of what you can do and how diverse of a character or plot point that Godzilla can be. However, I think that a lot of people were just looking for like a fun romp and like
Yes,
something interesting and something new. And while we got something interesting,
it was interesting. It was new, and while I
it
didn't
just didn't
love
have
it,
the X factor, if you know what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah, it was an interesting idea. It just didn't quite land with me. I was hoping for something more like, Godzilla the series or something.
Yeah.
Um,
While Singular Point isn't really Godzilla the series,
no,
I
it
will
seems to be
say,
it's more grown up than that, isn't? I think it's going to be
yeah, it's much more grown up than that. I keep going back to like Stranger
Stranger
Things
Things.
vibe. Yeah, but like it does it does have kind of it has a more sciency vibe than that, but it does vibe on a lot of similar levels for me.
Okay. So, what do you want to see out of the rest of the show?
I want to see more Titanosaurus,
Of course, you
aka
do.
Godzilla Aquatus. Okay, so for those of you who do not know, I love Titanosaurus. My favorite Godzilla movie is Terror of Mechagodzilla, and I was shown a Titanosaurus. And I was instantly on board. However bad this series had the potential to be, I was on board because there was a Titanosaurus in it. And then Toho, and I'm sure some of you listen to these, you changed its name. Why did you have to do that?
What does
And
the name
then
matter?
it matters to me. Do you understand how little like airtime Titanosaurus gets? So anyways, they changed its name, and then Toho later had the audacity to go on Twitter and say Titanosaurus is never coming back.
Did they
That
really?
was that was the response to people saying, "Why did you change the name?" They were just Titanosaurus
Oh,
is never coming back, and then they put like some laughing emojis next to it. And I was just like,
bless your heart.
"Wow, you guys are terrible." You aren't really. Thank you for putting Titanosaurus in Singular Point. You can call it what you want, but I know what it is. Anyway, they've done that with the Gabra too. So they've changed. You've seen the trailers. You know that Gabra is quote. He's in it, but it's not Gabra. They've given it a new name. So I wonder how many like other like little pinpricks the fandom's gonna get. Like that's not its name. Why did they do that? It's not cool, but at the same time, it's fun. But Godzilla Aquatus, like in theory, it's from the Godzilla family and it's aquatic. So, I can kind of get behind this, giant aquatic dinosaur, Titanosaurus. That's what it was. So I'll live with it. It's cool. It's cool. But what I want to see, I'm at a point now where I'm happy enough with it that I just want to see where it goes. Like I'm just really enjoying the ride right now. I don't want to get too much into speculation or what I want to see out of it because honestly, I'm just enjoying what I'm being given.
Well, that's good. I mean, you can't really hope for more than that. If
Yeah,
you're enjoying it
I'm
and you can't
really
wait to see
enjoying
the
it.
next, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. What are you looking for out of this, Paul?
I don't see. I don't care about the names. I don't know if I want to see new iterations of the kaiju we know or completely new creatures. That's what I'm torn on because one part of me says, "Oh, I just want to see what these people can do with the creatures that we know and love, like they have done with Titanosaurus and Rodan, or if they should just start with a blank slate and say, actually, no, we're just going to design a whole new bunch of creatures for you to love." And you probably know more, but going by the trailer, it looks like they're going to be the existing ones, and there probably won't be many new ones. Am I right?
I feel like Toho has such a broad catalog of monsters that they could draw on a lot and just kind of tweak the designs or the origin stories enough to make it feel different.
Well, yeah, I mean, there is.
That said, we're on episode 6 of like a 13 episode series, so we're not even halfway there. I mean, they could throw out new stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I'm wondering, as I said, where they're coming from. Is it going to be like Pacific Rim and there's a breach? Is it going to be like Evolution, which I know
Hmm.
is completely fulfilled, but you know they're trying to survive and change like the atmosphere so they can exist. Like you said, Rodan color changing as it's trying to adapt to our atmosphere. That remind me a lot of Evolution when the creatures there are mutating and trying to live in our atmosphere. You know, is it going to be something like that? And actually, they're all part of the Godzilla family, and these are mutations throughout the way. I'm very interested to see where they're going to take the storyline.
It's a
That's
pretty cool show.
yeah. I think it's. I'm hoping it's going to be good.
I think it is
I look
good.
forward to seeing more.
I hope it just doesn't like pull like a Game of Thrones and just be like really fun, and then you get to the end, it's just like, wait, really? Or I think that's a bit cruel to Game of Thrones. Dexter. Dexter had a terrible ending.
Lost.
I didn't watch Lost, just
Did you
like you
not?
didn't watch. Yeah, you didn't watch Studio Ghibli though, so you can't judge.
I wasn't judging. I was just saying. Okay, so do we know if this is a one-off? Could this end on a cliffhanger and we've got to wait for a year or two for season two?
Ooh, I don't know, but it'd be really cool if they did keep it going.
So you're happy enough with what you've seen so far that this could be an ongoing series. You wouldn't just want it to be a one and done.
No,
Okay.
I mean, it depends where they go with it. If they end it really well and it's a great one-off season of 13 episodes, no, I won't. I won't ask them for more. If the studio, or not the studio, if the series feels complete and well-rounded. That said, I'm really enjoying what they're showing now, and it has the potential. It has the world to be more than 13 episodes, I feel. So if they came back for a second season, as Netflix has been doing with quite a lot of properties, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be really happy for it.
Okay. And as you see a few more, I mean, complete spoilers here, but what the hell is that song all about, if you know? Because
Okay.
trying to find the ghosts, aren't they? And they're following what you think would just be a frequency,
Okay.
but it's a song.
Okay. So in episode 1, they're kind of ghost hunting. Someone's tipped them off to this song. And basically, it was like a type of old school, like radiophone.
It's like a crystal radio, isn't it? That's hidden
Yeah,
in a secret room
exactly.
in a mansion.
So this is like a novelty. Someone in a mansion had a novelty, and basically, it's the radio waves that trigger this thing to activate. So it's not a ghost. It's just this old radio phone being activated by the radio waves, which the radon is producing.
Oh,
So
it's
yeah,
right. Okay.
so basically, when the radon's flying by, or like something is triggering this old radio phone to start, and whoever's at the mansion is just like, ooh, we have ghosts. No, you don't have ghosts, but your radio phone is randomly switching on and off, and that's a bit weird. So that's why they go to the radio station. Like, why are you doing these random like frequencies to like do that? Like does odd stuff to like things around. But the radio station really isn't trying to do weird things, and you find out there's something else going on here, and that something else is the radons, potentially a breach, or like whatever else is out there. But it's just one of those like little mysteries within the show that's kind of like in the process of being solved. But the radons do emit their own radio wave. So like whenever they roar, there's like a radio signal that goes along with it. And they actually later on use this to effect because a flock of radons come out and they use radio waves to draw them away.
Okay, that's pretty cool to
They're,
know.
like the radons are attacking a city because the city is full of radio waves.
God.
So what they do is they isolate the radon frequency and then they put it on a moped and they try and drive off to like draw all these radons away. It doesn't
Oh,
exactly go to plan. It
this
doesn't
sounds
really go to plan.
Joe, you're reminding me here of Tremors and the shriekers following the heat signature. This is fantastic.
It is quite similar, but there's our Tremors episode,
Yeah,
reference
it's
for
been a
the
while.
episode. Yeah, you needed one. You needed one there. And we'll go ahead and take our second break now. Hello and welcome back to Kaiju Curry House. We've been talking Godzilla Singular Point. Now I think we need to move on to other news. So it's been about 24 hours since this news leaked onto the wide and wonderful web, but we have found out that the director Adam Wingard is in talks for Legendary's next MonsterVerse film. Paul and I were discussing over the break that Godzilla vs. Kong, as of this point, has crossed the $400 million milestone worldwide, which is pretty dang good. Yeah, for a pandemic film. So, yeah, Adam Wingard in talks, nothing official yet, but it's really encouraging to see that. And whilst we know that Godzilla's licensing with the series might be coming to an end with this last film, they do, however, still have Kong and the Hollow Earth to look into. So we could be going into unknown territory there. Paul, thoughts?
But the report that I was reading says that they've banded around Son of Kong um, as a potential
You need a
MonsterVerse film.
Mama Kong before you can have a Son of Kong.
Well, now he's on Hollow Earth. Maybe he's gonna somehow find
Oh,
some more of
yeah.
his kind.
Well, they tease like your family could be down there. It's like,
Yeah, and he got pretty
they,
excited, ran down there, and found that there was at some point they might
yeah.
have just moved away from that area.
If you read the novelization of Godzilla versus Kong, that whole temple area that Kong sits down in that finds the axe, all of that was actually made by Kongs. That was not made by humans.
Okay, yeah. So yes,
So
so Kongs did live down there.
yeah, and they have the knowledge to create architecture. So that makes Kong significantly more intelligent than any iteration in the past, or the potential to be significantly more intelligent. He understands sign language, which is farther than we've seen any other of the Kongs get. But the fact that his race could create architecture and weapons. So, in that sense, Kong's tribe, if you want to call it that, has gone past Stone Age mechanics. So, there's some really interesting, I mean, like if that civilization, if that culture kept on going in the Hollow Earth, which a Son of Kong would, you'd assume that would be the case, then where are the rest of Kong's species at culturally? Because you have to understand he grew up isolated and alone on an island. The other Kongs down there could have their own language by this time that he wouldn't be privy to because he was alone on Skull Island. It begs a whole bunch of really interesting questions, and they have a lot of room to work with there.
Well, so I mean, the MonsterVerse. I know we think of Godzilla, but they've created such a world now, haven't they? With Hollow Earth and Kong in Godzilla versus Kong. Not to mention all the other creatures that we saw in Godzilla King of the Monsters. They don't need Godzilla. They could leave him for a few films while they arrange something with Toho to get that license like renewed if need be. There's so many directions they could take.
Yeah, and even in the tie-in comics that they did, like Godzilla Dominion introduced a couple of new kaiju that were quite large, and then it visited up on some kaiju as well, like Behemoth, Skyla, like they were in there, and it shows what they were getting up to. Incidentally, this is a nice point. So for those of you who saw the opening credits of Godzilla versus Kong and saw like basically the roster of the monsters that Godzilla and Kong defeated before they got to each other, the other monsters are not dead. Godzilla Dominion and Kingdom Kong, like they show what happened, and those monsters are not dead. Behemoth has not died. You know, it's there's a whole bunch of monsters that are still alive and they're still okay. But they're great comic books. You should try and pick them up if you can. They're really fun reads. Particularly, I will say Godzilla Dominion, which is all from Godzilla's perspective. There are no people in it. And it's kind of interesting to see how Godzilla's mind works. He's quite the philosopher, I must say. Like, he has really deep thoughts. But yeah, you know, like pick those up. But the MonsterVerse, it looks like, folks, is going to be expanding further. So fun times.
Yeah, that's great news.
Yeah. So Paul, should we wrap this one up with some recommendations?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. First of all, if nothing else, go onto Netflix and click your remind me button so that when Godzilla is released, because it's up on Netflix now, you can click a add to watch list button. So once it's live, you will probably get a notification on WhatsApp or wherever you're linked to say it's available. I guess I should say watch a Studio Ghibli film, but I can't really say that until I've watched one myself.
I'm going to quiz you next episode on what you've been watching, Paul. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
You're going to say, sorry, Joe, I watched Tremors for the 100th time and I played more video games. But I'm going to say, Paul, you should have been watching the Studio Ghibli film.
Yeah, you're right. I probably will just play more video games, to be fair. We recently had Alien Day and I completely missed that and didn't watch Aliens like I should have done. And I'm sure Tremors Day is coming up soon.
There's a Tremors Day?
There's a Burt Gummer Day, isn't there?
Oh, yeah, there is.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's lots of excuses to watch Tremors again, always. But do you think we should go back and watch the Godzilla Netflix trilogy, or should we just leave that for now?
I'm going to leave that.
Just leave that for now, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Joe, what would you recommend?
Well, my recommendation is going to come out of left field. I'm going to say, you know, do what Paul just said. Put a reminder on for Godzilla Singular Point. Watch a Studio Ghibli film. Those are all out on Netflix right now. They are fantastic films. If you have Netflix, they're just well worth the watch. I guarantee you, once you watch one, you will watch the others. So I recently, and on an unrelated note, watched the original Planet of the Apes. And I remembered that there was a release by Boom Studios that was Kong on the Planet of the Apes. So I have read that. You can get this fabulous comic from Amazon for about 15 quid. And it's got great artwork. It's really enjoyable. And it picks up almost directly, like moments after the ending of the original Planet of the Apes. I won't spoil too much because it's really fun, but basically Charlton Heston goes off and you see the Statue of Liberty there. Sorry for spoilers, but this movie is decades and decades old. But you know, like we've gotten past that. But when they, like, just after that Statue of Liberty, the apes are following their trail and they come across the washed up body of a dead Kong. So the story quickly proceeds, like, this is how kind of like Charlton Heston got away. Like, the apes could have tracked him down, but they found this Kong and then they were like, this is a large ape. We need to find out where he came from. So then they do an expedition to Skull Island. And of course, we all know how expeditions to Skull Island go.
Yes.
Anyways, it's really fun. It's Kong related. It has good art. It's an economical buy, and it's really fun. But you have to have seen the original Planet of the Apes to have more fun with it. So I will recommend that you watch the original release of Planet of the Apes. It's not the Tim Burton one. We're talking before that. So the original release, Planet of the Apes, watch that. Spend 15 quid on Amazon or your local bookseller or comic shop and get this comic and read what ape men would think of King Kong. So there you go.
I love the sound of that.
Why not? Why not? So, folks, we're going to leave you there. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. And as always, keep it kaiju.